Okay, so let's start now. We're here in Masechta Beitzah. We're on Testament Beis 9b, and very top of the page. So we're starting right on top of the page. Now, I said we're going to finish a Rashi there, but really, it's not that important. It was pretty clear, but we'll start with the beginning of the page, fresh piece of Gemara. So the Gemara says that Masnisin, the way our Mishnah quotes the machloikes of Beis Shammai and Beis Hillel, our Masnisin, our Mishnah that quotes the disagreement is the Loi Ki Tana does not follow the following Tana of a Beitzah. The way the Beitzah quotes the machloikes between Beis Shammai and Beis Hillel is different than our Mishnah quotes the machloikes of Beis Shammai and Beis Hillel. Rashi, look at the Rashi, Masnisin. Our Mishnah, the Kotoni B'hoilochas Sulam Pligi, that it learns the machloikes between Beis Shammai and Beis Hillel is about bringing the ladder to the nest to get the birds. Whether you can do it or not does not really lavke hai Tana, does not go like the following Tana. The kotoni b'hoilocha moidu mipnei shetzorich yom tavi. This Tana that we're going to quote you now, he says there is no disagreement between Beis Shammai and Beis Hillel. You are allowed to move the ladder to the net. Everybody agrees that you can move it. Because why? Because you need the birds for Yom Tov, so there's no issue in moving the ladder. The only issue is about bringing the ladder back. So our Mishnah that states that the machloikis is by bringing the ladder to the does not follow that opinion. The Tanya, we learned in the Beitzah. Omar Rabbi Shimon ben Elazar. Rabbi Shimon ben Elazar says, so this is his view. He says that Moedim Beis Shammai u Beis Hillel shemelichin es hashulam b'shoivach l'shoivach. Beis Shammai and Beis Hillel agree that we can bring the ladder from one nest to the other nest. There's no problem with that. He says, Moedim Beis Shammai Beis Hillel, they both agree that you are allowed to move a ladder from one nest to the other nest. That would be no problem. Lo nechlaku elo lahachzir. The machlokes is, can you return? Shebeis Shammai omrim ein machzirin. Beis Shammai say you cannot bring back. Ubeis Hillel omrim machzirin. And Beis Hillel says you could bring back. So according to this opinion of Rabbi Shimon ben Elazar, there was never a machlokes whether you're allowed to bring. The only disagreement is, can we move the ladder back from the nest? Okay. So our Mishnah, this says that the machlokes is about bringing it to the nest, cannot follow that opinion of Rav Shimon ben Elazar. Cannot follow that opinion. Okay. Further in that Beitzah, it goes on and says, Omar Rav Yehuda.
His opinion is that the Mishnah that we learned is not talking about is he saying that there's two separate cases, or he's reinterpreting what we read in the Mishnah?
So he is actually quoting Beis Shammai and Beis Hillel different than it was quoted in our Mishnah. So he believes that that's not the quote of our Mishnah is not accurately reflecting the views of Beis Shammai and Beis Hillel. He says in our Mishnah, the quote is that the question is about taking the ladder to the nest. And here, Rav Shimon Elazar say there's no disagreement over there, not like it's in our Mishnah. The whole disagreement is about bringing back the nest. So he disagrees on the quote. He disagrees on the statement of our Mishnah. He disagrees on the Mishnah. And the Beitzah, the way he learns it, has a different opinion about what Beis Shammai and Beis Hillel said. So we're differing. The way Rabbi Yehuda Anossi quoted the Mishnah is different than the way Rav Shimon ben Elazar quotes the disagreement between Beis Shammai and Beis Hillel. He says their disagreement is only about returning. Beis Shammai says you can't return, and Beis Hillel says you could return. Everybody is allowing to bring it there. Amar Rabbi Yehuda, and there is a further opinion. The opinion of Rabbi Yehuda. We'll get back to it in the Gemara, in the discussion of the Gemara. Rabbi Yehuda says, Bamed Dvarim Amurim, that when is there a disagreement between Beis Shammai and Beis Hillel, it's Besulam Shel Shoivach. That if it's a special ladder which is meant for a nest, the nest ladder had a special ladder, special design. That ladder, there is a question whether you could return it or not. Abel besulam shel aliyah. But if it's a ladder which is not designated for the nest, but it's a attic ladder to climb up to the upper floor, divrei hakil asur, then all opinions would say that it is prohibited because that looks too much like a weekday. Rashi, Avol Shalia Asur, Dehahu Vadai Amri Latiach Gagoy Hutzarich. Because when we're dealing with a ladder, which is a regular attic or roof ladder, over there, people will certainly suspect and say that this guy is moving a ladder for trying to plaster his roof, which is prohibited on Yom Tov. So we say we can't have people saying bad about you, and therefore you should not move that ladder according to everybody. The only ladder that Beis Shammai, that Beis Hillel says that you could bring back is a ladder that has a special designation, that it's specially designed for the Shevach. Now Rabbi Beitzah Omer, he has another qualification. He says you're not allowed to even move the ladder, but you can't bring the ladder from one place to the other place, but you can only bend the ladder from one window to the other window. We had different compartments we learned earlier in the shoivach, in the nest. So you can't actually move a ladder, but you can tilt it from one window to the other window. And we'll see soon in the Gemara, and also what is Rabbi Beitzah actually, the case of Rabbi Beitzah is talking about. But he says you can only bend it, but you cannot really move it. And acherim oimrim mishum Rabbi Doisa, but there's others that have different say from Rabbi Doisa. Af medadin boy. No, some you can even walk the ladder, which means you're not allowed to move the whole ladder, but you can walk it from place to place a little bit, not only whether you can only tilt it or you can also medadin. That's the other opinion in what Rabbi Doisa said. Medadin boy. So he says like this: Im hachal rochik. If the other window is distant, ve'ein roish hasulam magia sham bo. And the top of the ladder doesn't reach there just by tilting. Bedadin raglov shel sulam ve'at ma'at. Then you walk the legs of the ladder little by little, one step at a time. That is also okay. That's the end of this Beitzah quoted over here. And we'll see some explanation of what Rabbi Doisa is saying and what Rabbi Huda is saying based upon the story that the Gemara is going to say. So the Gemara tells us a story that the Bnei Rabbi Chia nafuk likrayoso, the sons of Rabbi Chia, they went out to the villages, as Rashi says, likrayoso likforim, to the villages, lirois sodoiseyim. They went to inspect their fields outside of there. And Kiosu, when they came back, Amar Lahu Abuhoin, so their father told them, Rabbi Chia said to his sons, Klum Maise Ba Liyadchem. Did anything happen that came to your hands? Meaning, was there any halachic question during your travels that you went to inspect the fields? Did you come across any question, any halachic questions? Amrullah. So his sons told him, Sulam Boli Yodenu, a ladder, an issue of a ladder, came to us, Vitarnuha, and we permitted it. What is the case of the ladder? Zoktrashi, Sulam Boli Yodenu, Hoilochas Sulam Shel Aliyah Lishoivach. The issue they had was about carrying a ladder of an attic, a regular ladder, carrying it to the shoivach. That was the question. And they said, we permitted it. You're allowed to take the ladder of the Ali. He allowed them to take the ladder to take down the birds, even though it was a ladder of an aliyah. So Amar Lohem, so his father said to them, so Rabbi Chia said to his sons, Tsu'u ve'asru ma shehitartem. Go ahead and prohibit that which you have permitted. Go tell them, no, it's not allowed to. So what's the debate over here? So, inhu sabr, what was their thought? Why did they permit it? Midika Amar Rabbi Yehuda, because we find Rabbi Yehuda saying, Besulam shel aliyah loy pligi, that there is no disagreement when we're talking about a ladder of an aliyah, a regular ladder, that there's no disagreement. So this is the opinion of Rabbi Yehuda, which goes against the opinion of the Tanakama. What did the Tanakama say? The Tanakama said that when we're talking about that while we're not permitted to bring well, everybody agrees that we are permitted to bring the ladder to the shoivach. The disagreement is about bringing back that Beis Hillel allow and Beis Shammai don't allow, and that Rabbi Yehuda says, no, there is no disagreement about Aliyah, which means everybody says about Aliyah that you're not allowed to bring it back. Even Beis Hillel hold you're not allowed to bring it back. So Miklal the Tanakh sober. So that tells us that Tanakh holds pligi, that they do. So he holds that the machloikis of Beis Shammai and Beis Hillel is even with the ladder of an attic, because the stipulation that we're only talking about a designated ladder was done by Rabbi Yehuda. He is the opinion that disagrees on the first opinion of the Tanakama. So that means that the Tanakama, who did think there was a machlokes between Beit Shammai and Beis Hillel, that was even by a ladder which is made for an attic, for a regular ladder, not only for a shevach. And therefore, Beis Hillel Tanakama is sober. What did Tanakama hold? Bishel pligi, that there's a machlokes by Chazorah, but umaydim b'halacha. And he also said that you're allowed to lead there. So the question they had over there is about leading it. But since he is saying that they're only arguing, it was Rabbi Yehuda who said they're only talking not aliyah, but means Rabbi Yehuda was talking about even an aliyah. And he says to bring it there, you're allowed to. So they agree, Besham Besil agree that you're allowed to bring even an aliyah, even a ladder, which is a ladder designated for a regular aliyah, you're allowed to bring it over there. That's how they interpreted the words over here. And therefore they permitted it. So how come they're wrong? The Gemara says Velohi. But this is not really the case. Rabbi Yehuda and the Tanakama are not disagreeing. They're not disagreeing. When Rabbi Yehuda says that on a ladder of an attic you're not allowed to, you're not allowed to bring it back, you're not allowed to bring it there, you're not allowed to use a ladder of an aliyah. Rabbi Yehuda is not disagreeing on the Tanakama, he's merely interpreting the position of the Tanakama. That the Tanakama said that Beis Shammai and Beis Hillel are arguing only about returning and not about leading it. They're allowed to. It's only talking about a ladder of a designated for a shoivach. But if it's a ladder meant for aliyah, you're not allowed to use it at all. The Gemara says velohi. It's not really.
I can't hear you.